Sorry, that's just a good sounding musical instrument. Welcome to Dragon Crossing. This is my home studio. Come on in. In this room, which we'll get to another day, is where all the speaker cabinets and mics for the guitar amps work, but we're going upstairs. Let's go. There's some pictures that mean a lot to me here. This is actually an original Jim Marshall photograph. Jim Marshall, the photographer, not the amp builder, that was given to me by Tom Wheeler, who we lost recently. Maybe we can just do a pan of the place. There's a drum set in here that I've worked on extensively. There's an old Hammond 1940 Hammond BC and a tall boy that's been modified that were given to me by David at Dave's Guitars. A workbench, which is a place where I modify amplifiers and gear. You've got 3 sets of speakers. There's this set of electrostatic quads here. There's some Dunlobby 6s, which I adore. Mastering speakers, stereo speakers, and a set of speakers I built from Morel parts that I really like, so that when the musicians are recording things like bass, they can feel it. It's somewhere between studio monitors and a PA, but they're good enough to do it with. A recording studio in general is a device to capture music. So you have a microphone and a cable, and then you'll have things to amplify the microphone because they're not loud enough. Those are called mic pre's. There's a bunch of them here, RCAs, modified APIs. We use some of these LA2As as mic pre's, which it's not usual, but they sound gorgeous. And the heart of this studio is then getting it into the digital domain and getting it out. And the heart of this place is all JCF audio stuff. You've got JCF audio analog to digital converters. You've got his PEP devices, which have a way of making it sound like tape. He's turned an old tape machine into a D to A converter, and I have all the meters for that. You know, I've discovered that you can record extraordinary tracks with none of this gear, and I want to show you that. Today when we go through the microphones. I've got a track that I'll play at the very end that's up in Pro Tools, that almost all the basic tracks were done at Boscoe France's house with a little interface and one mic. I bought him this microphone. It sounds unbelievable. So you don't need all this stuff, although these speakers really help me to hear well. Let me go into the microphones that we have here at the studio. I think it's a good place to start. You don't need a lot of money to get magic sounding tracks, and I'll show you that. We're going to show you all these things that we made or we had made, and then I'm going to show you the things you can buy either on the internet or at any music store, really, that sound remarkable. A lot of these mics are homemade. When I say homemade, they were made by experts in our industry that make mics for other people. These two, David Fox helped me make, Eric Heiserman helped me make, and Tony Merrill from Stephen Paul Audio got me a diaphragm. I use these things all the time. They're custom made mics. Love them. Use them all the time. These two mics are donor body mics that JCF Audio made me, and I use them all the time. They sound like an ear. It sounds like you're talking to somebody's ear. Love them. Use them all the time. These two mics are donor bodies again. JCF Audio made me tube mics out of these. Use them all the time. This is a live mic that we use. It's the new Shure microphone. The reason we like it is that the high mid-range is not overbearing for Mia when she, really pops into a note. It's got a real strength to her high mid-range, and that thing seems to control the bass and the high mids. There are a bunch of old SM57s here. which I like very much. Some of them have new heads and old bodies on them. I like them. I really like the mics that Freddie Mercury used to sing into, these 545s and the other one. I've taken the whistles out of the top of this one, use it for guitar amps. Those holes in the top are kind of whistles that control the frequency response because there's no battery in those mics. These are Beyer M88s. We use them for bass drum. Love them. Love them. These are old Grundig mics. They come in a stereo pair. You can buy them for about 200 bucks on the internet. The pair is 400, 450 bucks. And they're the same diaphragm as a Sennheiser 409. You know, that would be the tom-tom mics that you would see in a Rush recording or the vocals for Pink Floyd. And you can buy them inexpensively. They sound wonderful. And then one of my favorite mics, a Shure SM7B. Use them for everything. We use them for all the guitars. We use them for hi-hat. We use them for all kinds of stuff. They're a universally good sounding mic. I also have some of the old versions, the SM7s, because I'm kind of a gear nut. There's also an Earthworks mic here for testing the frequency response of certain things. It's a a mic for just, it's dead flat from nothing up to 30K, and so you can test things with it. There's not a lot of industry standard mics in here in terms of, other than the SM7s. These are mostly homemade. I've owned U47s, I own 251s, I've owned a bunch of this stuff, but to my ears these custom made mics sound better. But you know, I could use these inexpensive $200, $300 mics to record everything, and from what I'm experiencing, they're great. But that's after years and years and years of sifting through things. If you don't have a lot of money, buy these. You don't have a lot of money, buy these. You'll be happy. When you buy these, the diaphragm's going to rattle around. You got to pry the top off and put new cotton around them, but they're wonderful microphones. And you know, if you listen to the Magnolia Boulevard stuff that just got released, it was using these mics, her vocals, all the drums, the guitars, everything. So, and you know, Boscoe's recording A+ level stuff in his house with an SM7 and a interface. Sounds great to me. Let me play this track. So that's an old Stella acoustic that Boscoe recorded at his house, and I just think it sounds fantastic. You don't need expensive stuff. What you need is good sounding stuff. You're listening through, you know, the microphone that's in my lavalier here, but it still sounds beautiful, right? Beautiful. That was done with an SM7 through a little device at Boscoe's house. The raw tracks were, it was mixed here. The drums were done in Nashville. It was a friend of Boscoe's who was sending the tracks. You know, I typically have not believed that much in sending tracks around to different houses, but the thing sounds beautiful. So if I can be of any help in terms of, you know, what you can buy that's inexpensive that works, I would love to do that. I'm finding out that you don't have to spend a lot of money to have things sound beautiful. You just don't. Anyway, that's my studio. Welcome to Dragon Crossing. There's one last thing I need to show you. Nobody knew what to give me for Christmas, so they gave me dragons. You got all these dragons they gave me, right? Although these aren't dragons, these are a gift from Mana, from Sergio Valin. But it's changed hands a lot. You know, if somebody comes in my studio and they're sick, I'll give them one and I'll buy another one, you know. this was a present. This is John Lennon's handwriting of Real Love. It was a Father's Day gift from my wife. I love this place, not just because, you know, of being a gear slip, but I love it because musicians that I know can come here and record. I didn't build this place to make money. I built it so that when you had a file and you brought it home, it sounded the same in all your cars in your house than it did in the studio. Very often you bring files home, they don't sound the same. And that really bothered me. You know, it sounded beautiful in the control room, but it didn't sound that way when you got it home. And so I built this place so the musicians didn't have to experience that trauma. And it's gone well. So there you go. We'll go through my guitars, we'll go through the amplifiers, we'll record some stuff. We should have some fun. A lot of prototypes for PRS got done here. My new favorite is this Dallas. God, I like that amplifier. All right. Dragon Crossing Studio. Time to put my mask back on. See everybody. Bye.